Okay, good afternoon, people. Can you
Hey,
guys
how's
hear
it going?
me? Okay, great. So,
Did you get a haircut?
oh yeah, so obvious.
Looking fresh.
So still I have some hair. I'm losing hair, by the way.
It's okay,
So
so am I.
since I still have some hair, I need to maintain a hairstyle. I'm joking. Okay. Otherwise, I will not have the privilege to have the hairstyle when I'm 50. Because I don't have hair at that time. I'm just joking. Okay, so at the beginning of class, I have two issues to tell you. First, I want to give you guys know we are in the 7th week. And by saying 7th week, I mean our semester is almost half. So I will assign a mid-term survey to learn about your experience, to know what I can improve in teaching this class. Or in other words, what kind of things you want me to change during this class. And this survey will also count as part of the credits for the activities, okay? This is number one issue. So does anyone has any question, concerns about this number one issue? Okay, so second issue, I assigned the post-exam one wrappers. Notice that in that wrapper, you were required to redo the questions you made mistakes on the exam one. But since I'm an instructor, I'm not sure about it. How about, do you have the access to your exam one after you are done with it? Do you?
Not when I finished it, but now I do, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you do or do not have the access?
After I finished the exam, no, it told me I was done, but I like 2 days ago tried to look and it basically told me I could do another attempt with it. But I didn't do
Okay,
it because I was afraid.
okay, so when you access your exam one again, did you see a previous mistake or not?
Like in my work,
Yes, your previous work.
oh, for sure.
Yes, you can see your previous work, right? Blake? Blake, I'm talking with you.
I know, sorry, my computer did a thing. Um, no, I couldn't, like when I was taking the test, I couldn't see any missed questions or anything. I can't see the questions now either. It just tells me I can do another attempt.
Okay. Okay, thank you for telling me that.
Yeah, of course. Because I thought we
So,
were gonna be able to like see if it was wrong, but no.
okay. So I'm trying to figure out how to let you see your mistakes in your previous exam one. So it seems that my previous setting would not allow you to see the mistakes. So I will try to change it again. And Blake, I will literally email you to see whether you can have the access to see your previous mistakes. Okay, so please
Yeah.
expect an email from me today or tonight or tomorrow, so that you can really see your mistakes, so that you can make up your mistakes. Okay, thank you, Blake. So okay, so if for some reason I cannot change the setting, I would just say this requirement is forgived. I mean, requirement to redo your mistakes is forgived if I cannot change the setting by tomorrow. Okay, so please wait for my email. I will letting you guys know the update. So I tried, but it seems that does not work.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Blake. Okay, so does anyone has any question or concerns before we start our section 4D? Okay, so you guys can see the lectioners for section 4D, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's first watch a video on YouTube. This video talking about loan payments and mortgage, that kind of stuff. This video is 5 minutes long, okay? So okay, get ready, guys.
What's up, guys? This is Teddy Smith here in Wilmington, North Carolina. In this video, we're going to be talking about Mortgages for Dummies 101, or home mortgages explained simply. So in today's world, there are a dizzying array of mortgages available, and this sometimes makes it confusing to people who are trying to learn about them. But at the very heart of it, just realize this. A mortgage is nothing more than a loan that is secured by real estate. At some point in your life, you've probably received a loan or given a loan to somebody. Maybe it was something very simple like loaning your bike, or maybe loaning your friend $10, but just realize a loan is a loan at the end of the day. So for example's sake, let's just say that you needed to buy a moped for work. You needed a form of transportation. You had no money, so you asked your roommate for the money to buy the moped. All loans come with certain terms. So let's say that your roommate wanted his money back in 1 year at 4% interest with monthly payments of $50. And key point, if you default, he gets to keep your moped. So a mortgage is no different, except that it involves real estate. If you violate the terms of the mortgage or the loan, they're going to take back the piece of real estate as opposed to a moped. And although there are many different types of mortgages, they usually have these types of terms, very long periods of time, say 30 years at a certain yearly interest rate, say 4%, monthly payments, and lastly, they are amortized over this time period. Amortization is one of the building blocks of the modern mortgage. And it's very ironic because amortization is very difficult to understand, and it's never taught in public schools or any personal finance courses. In our moped example, our roommate wanted us to pay the payments in equal payments each month, as opposed to paying the lump sum of the moped as well as the interest at the end of the term. That is the key point of amortization. Essentially, with amortization, you're paying off a little bit of the moped and a little bit of the interest over each month. And hopefully by the end of the term, you're going to end up owning the moped and having paid the interest that your roommate wants you to pay. With a non-amortized loan, you would have to pay the whole entire moped off, and you would have to pay all of the interest at the very end of the year when the loan came due. So a very simple mortgage example would be this. You are buying a $100,000 house. You're getting a yearly rate of 3.92%, and it's amortized over 30 years. And if you type in mortgage calculator on Google search and you input those numbers, it's going to give you a monthly payment of $473 each month. Personal loans, moped loans home mortgages, they're all pretty much the same. And if I can give anybody the best piece of advice when you are trying to get a loan is you want to negotiate the most favorable terms, especially for a mortgage, which is very long and very expensive. And the best way to negotiate a loan is, number one, put down the largest down payment that you possibly can and try to negotiate the rate down as low as possible. The lower the rate, the bigger the down payment, the less risky the loan, and the lower the payment. More than likely, if you're watching this, you are a first-time home buyer, and I highly suggest you check into government subsidized loans, which have very low rates, loans amortized over 30 years, and because they're government subsidized, there's really no catch. They're government programs aimed at helping first-time home buyers buy houses. One thing you must take into consideration when getting a mortgage is that you're going to have to apply for a mortgage through a bank or some type of lender. These people are going to scrutinize your financial history. So in order to increase your negotiating power and increase the likelihood that you can get a good rate on a loan, you need to impress banks and lending institutions with things like good credit, a nice stable income, and assets in a savings account, 401k, or some type of bank account. In a post-2008 world, banks, lending institutions kind of have a sketchy past, and mortgages, to be honest with you, have always had a sketchy history. Reckless mortgage lending has been the cause of many ills in society, such as economic meltdowns, bankruptcy, and personal stress and financial burden of having mortgages that people can't afford. But mortgages, when used responsibly, have tons of upside as well. Over time, you can build tons of wealth through real estate, you can grow your real estate portfolio, and you can generate passive income if you use mortgages wisely. But anyway, that is my video for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button, make sure to subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.
Okay, so we're done with that video. So let's go to our next notes for today's section. Okay, first thing first, I need to tell you, please ignore my notes here. I took a few notes to remind myself. Okay, please ignore the notes. Okay, so today we're going to learn about section 40, talking about loan payments, credit cards, and mortgages. What we are going to learn is very similar with before, okay? So many of the concepts are going to repeat itself again in today's class. So, but the underlying meaning of the concepts change a little bit. Previously, the principle is the money you put in the bank. However, for today's class, since you're owning other people's money, the principal, which is the initial money you own at any particular time. Okay, this is just the initial amount of money you owned. Okay. So notice that there's a subtle difference between the principle here and the principle we learned in the previous class. But they do have the overlapping meaning that they represent the amount of money at the beginning, okay? They are all representing the amount of money at the beginning. Okay. Any question about the idea of principle? Second concept, installment loan or amortized loan is a loan that is paid off with equal regular payments. So just like in the video, each month you have to pay, let's say $40 or $50 back to your roommate. So this $50 is the regular payments. And this loan you take from your roommate is an installment loan or amortized loan, okay? Just any kind of loan you need to pay back regularly. The loan term measures how much time this loan have. Long term is the time you have to pay back the loan in full. Okay, so in that video, in the previous video, the long time is 1 year. You have to pay back all the money you own in 1 year. Okay, so imagine you take a loan which the long term is, let's say, 1 month. So you need to pay all the money back in 1 month. If the long term is like 10 years, so you need to pay back all the money in 10 years. Okay, so long term is just how long you can pay back all the money. Okay, how long the time is. Okay, so anyone has any question about the first 3 concepts? So once you begin, you can take some loans. However, when you take loans, you need to figure out how much money you need to pay, right? To see whether this loan is affordable or not. I mean, I definitely want a new car. Sometimes I want a new private jet, but obviously a new private jet plane is not affordable to me right now. Because once you finish the calculation of the payment, you will see each payment is so high that it is beyond my current income, so which makes that loan impossible. So I will never take loans like that. However, if you calculate this payment and found it's within the range of your income, so you can still handle it. Okay, so again, in order to figure out the payment, we need to go through such a long formula to calculate. Very similar with our previous class. Payment, just the regular payment amount. P is the initial amount borrowed. APR, annual percentage rate, is the interest the person or the bank charges you. And how many times this payment is paid over a year. So previously, in our back deposit question, N is how many times the interest is compounded. But again, the meaning changed here subtly. This time, it's the number of payments periods per year. Okay, so notice that something changed. Y, again, the number of years. So everything is very similar, but this time you're calculating the loan instead of a fixed amount of deposit. Okay, so does anyone have any question on these ideas? Again, unfortunately, this formula uses a geometric series and is beyond our current knowledge scope. So we cannot really understand how we derived this formula mathematically. So all we learn today in today's class is how to use this formula to do some actual calculation. Okay. So over the life of the loan, the payment amount does not change. This means that if you take $1,000 from your roommate, you really need to pay a fixed amount of payment each month, okay? So if you fix it to $50 or $100, you have to fix it. The proportions of installment loan payments going toward the principal and toward interest vary as the loan is paid down. So imagine this is the person loaning you $1,000, okay? Just imagine this is $1,000. However, money grows. Money grows. In order to pay, you need to pay this $1,000. You also need to pay the interest in here, which it grows, okay? So your payment should also cover this part and this part. This is what this sentence means, okay? So at the beginning of the long term, your payment toward interest is relatively high, and going toward principal is relatively low, okay? Just imagine you have your payment here. So part of a payment going to the principal, part of a payment go to the interest. So at the beginning, you are paying much interest. And you're not paying much principal, but gradually, your interest payment is decreasing. So this part is decreasing, and your proportion going towards principal is increasing. Okay. So these are introductory ideas. We still need to do some calculation to understand what does those sentences mean. Right now, we just understand it superficially that, okay, at the beginning, the proportional going toward principal is low and going interest is high. I mean, we just understand it verbally. We will see from more examples how this is true. Okay, so let's do practice one together. Suppose you have student loans, 7,500. When you graduate from UC Denver, the interest rate is 9%. The long term is 10 years. What is your monthly payments? How much will you pay over the life of the loan? What is the total interest you will pay on the loan? So this question, we have 3 separate small questions. We need to figure out our monthly payment first so that we can know how much money we will pay eventually. Notice that eventually we will pay much more than this principal because we not only need to pay the principal, we also need to pay for the interest. Okay, that's the idea. So let's do some calculation. We need to figure out the payments, and we are told that this is a monthly payment. So in number of payments per year should be 12, right? Principal, 7,500. Okay, so, and interest rate, 9%. Number of years, 10 years. So we grab everything we need. So P equal to 7,500. APR is 9%. I tell you, 9% is scarily high. After you do the calculation, you will see you will pay so much on interest. Number of years is 10 years. Number of payments you made per year is 12 because this is a monthly payments. So let's plug all the numbers we have into the formula. P 7500 times, the formula is here. APR 9% divided by 12. One minus, again, copy everything we have here. 1 plus APR in. So you see in here, y. In y, so negative 12. Notice we have a small negative sign here. Times years. Okay. So we get such a huge chunk. Again, I need some diligent guy help me to plug this into the calculator. Okay. Help me plug in the calculator. I'll give you, let's say, 2 minutes to plug this into a calculator and think how to do the calculation for a second question and a third question, okay? 2 minutes to think about it. Don't worry if you cannot get an answer. We'll come back together to work things out. Hello, did anybody figure out what is number here? in the calculator? Okay, Queen, thank you very much. Thank you, Queen. So if you plug this into your calculator, your fine is $95.01 per month. This does not sub in the knot, okay? So let's look at our second question. How much will you pay over the lifetime of the loan? Okay, so how much do we pay? So think about this. Each year you make 12 payments. So how many payments did you make in 10 years? 12 times 10 payments, right? So 120 different payments you made. And each time you're making $95 payment. Okay, so 120 payments, each payment is $95. So how much money is it? Did you eventually pay? Can anyone help me do the calculation in the calculator? Okay, thank you, Queen, again. So the total amount is $11,401.2. Okay. So eventually, if you pay it over 10 years, you pay so much. So now comes the question. We eventually pay so much money over the course of 10 years. So how much money did we pay for the interest, just for the interest? So the answer is interest payment is the total amount you paid minus the principal. Or in other words, this is the initial amount of loan you take. After the initial amount of loan you take is 7,500. Okay. So in our case, total amount you paid is $11,401, 2 dimes minus 7,500. So thank you, Queen, again. You are very considerate. The total interest you paid is $3,900 or $1, $1.2. See? So just for interest, you are paying like near $4,000 for the interest. Okay. That's it for this question. Does anyone has any question? Any concerns about this practice? Okay, so let's look at the next page.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, my thing was muted, but I did have a question. So I kind of got stuck when I was doing part of the denominator of the bottom part. So I divided 9 by 12 and got 0.75 and added it to 1 and did 1.75. And isn't that to the power of negative 120?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because I kind of just got like, you know, like a long decimal and then E30 at the end. So I didn't like know what to do with that number, like after. Like I
Okay.
couldn't subtract 1 from it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for putting forward this question. So first I want to remind you, this is 9%. So 9%.
Oh, 0.09 instead. Okay,
Yes.
that's where I went wrong. Okay, I forgot.
Okay, great. Thank you for asking. Okay, does anyone else has any question? Great, thank you for asking. Okay. So after we're done with the previous question, we should see how much money we paid for the principal and how much money we paid for the interest. Okay. So as you can see, the author of our lecture notes is very considerate. He made such a table for us already. He separated interest with the payment toward principal. Okay. Then after each time you pay, he also calculated the new principal, which in other words, the new amount of money you own after you made some payments. So let's look at it in detail. For the first month, we calculate the interest. I mean, the interest once you convert by 12, which is a monthly interest, times balance. Since this is the first month, the balance is 7,500 in the original loan. Okay, so this is how much money you paid just for the interest. This is how much money you just paid for the interest for the first month, because you still own a large amount. A large amount of money will create a large amount of interest. Then the leftover part goes to the principal. So each month you pay $95. So leftover you have $38, which go to principal. So now the new principal is $461. Okay, this is the new principal. So next month, since you paid something to the principal already, your principal reduced. Your interest rate is still the same. But since your principal reduced, the interest it created reduces. This time you only need to pay $55.96. So you still pay the same amount, right? $95. So the amount go toward the principal increased because the interest payment decrease. Go to the principal increase. So you're paying less, or you're paying more to the principal. So this time you're paying $39.05 to the principal, and which further reduce the principal. Okay, so you keep going on, You will see the interest you paid is less and less. The money you paid towards the principal is more and more. And eventually your new balance or new principal is decreasing, eventually to 1, since you are paying off all the money at the end. That's it for this table. Does anyone has any question about this table? Yeah, I strongly recommend after class you read this table on one. Try to understand every detail. Okay. So after we talk about student loan, now you graduate from college, and in order to satisfy your materialistic desire, you apply for normal credit cards. Credit cards are also loans, okay? Just credit cards are loans. But you are not required to pay off the balance in a set period of time. As long as you are paying the minimum monthly payment, you're okay. Okay, you can pay the money in 1 year. You can also pay the money in 1 month. If you would like, you also can pay the money over, let's say 60 years. It's up to you how much money you pay. Okay. Here's the tricky thing. The minimum amount of payments covers in all the interest, but very little principal. Why? Okay, I just want you to think why. I'll give you, let's say, 30 seconds. Everybody think about why this is true. Why the design is like this. And anyone can voice his or her own opinion. Why this is designed so? This is a very open question. 20 seconds counting down. Think about it. Ten seconds. Okay, does anyone has any idea why this is true? Or why it is designed in such a way, a credit card loan? Just be open-minded. Feel free to voice your opinion. This is a very open class. Okay, so nobody has any opinion? So I can ask a few of you. Okay, so can I ask Elizabeth, do you have any kind of opinion? Why this is true?
No.
What? Okay, I didn't hear you. Okay, so let me tell you why this is true. It says the minimum monthly payments covers all interest, but very little principal. So why this is true? Because why do the, okay, let me take a credit card. Why do banks issue you a credit card? Why? Why do they give you credit cards? Why? Because the bank want to make money from you. Okay, they're not non-profit organizations designed to help you. On the contrary, banks, they are private company which is designed to take your money from your pocket. The way they do that is they give you a credit card. Then you take this credit card, spend as much money you want in the Apple store, in the King Supers, in the restaurants. Okay. When you spend the money, you create a loan. You create such a loan. Okay. Then how will the bank make money? You create such a loan, okay? This loan, each month, it is creating interest into it, right? At the beginning, let's say this loan is a principal. The amount of money owing is a principal. But this money is also growing because it has interest. The bank want you to pay the interest. However, they want you to keep this loan. If you keep this loan so that they can charge you interest every month, as long as this loan is still there, as long as this principal is still there, they can charge you this month, next month, the third month, the fourth month, next year. Okay. So that's why they want you to pay the very little principal. Okay. So I'm not sure if I answered your questions clearly. Do you guys have any kind of question about my explanation why this is true? Any question? Do you guys understand what I'm talking, by the way? My viewpoint, my opinion?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you. Let me type this keyword. Principal there. Okay. So I summarized my viewpoint in one sentence and type in the chat session already. So that is why the minimum payment covers very little principal because they want to keep the principal there. Okay. Okay. So it would take very long time to pay off a credit card loan. In fact, if you purchase more money than you made a minimum payment, you will never pay off the credit card balance. In other words, the principal will be always there, generating more interest for the bank. So, I mean, this is very capitalism, very greedy stuff. So how should we do with, how should we get well with greedy banks? In order to pay off the credit card, first, stop using credit cards. If you need a new card, get a debit card, okay? Make the minimum payment each month. So this sentence means only use the money, you only use the money you already make. The debit card, all the money in your debit card is the money you have already made. It's not a loan, okay? You deserve it already. Second, if you continue to use a credit card, make sure the minimum payment plus the amount of money you paid extra covers the purchases you made each month, okay? Make sure you put more money into the credit card than taking the money away from your credit card, okay? So we're done with so much credit card stuff, ideologies, greedy, very greedy stuff. And right now we need to do some real calculation. And then notice that how scary the credit card interest rate is, 21%. In our previous example, the interest rate is only 9%, but you paid so much money already just for interest. Can you imagine that when the interest rate doubled? Actually more than doubled, more than 9%, 21% is more than 9%. more than the double of 9%. Okay. So you decide to try to pay off your balance over a year. How much money will you need pay each month? Okay. And assume you cut your credit card. Okay. So let's do the calculation. We still use the same formula as this one. We still use the same formula. So instead of me doing it, I'll give you, let's say, 3 minutes to work on it. Okay, 3 minutes to work on your practice 2. Okay. So we just use the previous formula to do this. We copy every number we have here. And can any diligent smart person tell me what is the final result? Feel free to speak out or in the chat session. Wow, Queen, I really like your style. Thank you very much. I should hire you as my assistant for this class. Great. So plug into your calculator each month. You are making $214.16. That's it. Okay. So does anyone has any question about practice 2? Practice 3 is very, very similar with practice 2. Okay, I'm not going through every detail in the practice 3. Since everything is almost the same, there's only one difference, that it takes 1 year to find a new job. So the principal for practice 3 is 9,500 times 1 plus the interest rate, APR, compound daily, so divided by 365 times 365. So this is a principal. This is the only difference between practice 3 and practice 2. Okay, so every day is compounding, the interest is compounding. So after 1 year, the Paul owns the money more than 9,500. Okay, so this is the only difference. Okay, does anyone have any question about practice 2 and 3? We're not going to practice 3 because the time issue. Okay, so let's continue to the next page. Okay, at the beginning of today's class, you learned what is a home mortgage. And the second concept you need to know is the down payment. Down payment is how much money you must pay upfront or at the beginning to be able to give you the mortgage or any other kind of loan. Okay. There's also closing cost. Closing costs are the money you need to pay in order to be giving the loan. In other words, this is just an extra money the lender charges you. This is just a transaction cost. Okay, the closing cost, just extra money or the transaction cost. Fixed rate mortgage is the one in which interest rates are guaranteed not to change over the life of the loan. Okay. So once the interest rate is determined, it will not change. However, there's also adjustable rate mortgage. The interest rate can change. So we will see the comparison between those two concepts on the next page. First, we're going to do some easy calculation, which you only need fixed interest rate. Then on the next page, you are calculating a fixed rate loan compared with a flexible, adjustable rate mortgage. Okay, so let's do practice 4. You need a loan of 100,000 to buy your new home. So first of all, this statement is absolutely ridiculous because you cannot buy any home in Denver with $100,000. This is impossible. I think the author of the question is living in Texas 20 years ago. Okay, so let me add these remarks. This person is living in Texas 20 years ago. Okay, so assume this is still true. The bank offers 30-year loan with an annual percentage rate 5% or 15-year loan 4.5%. You need to compare the monthly payments and the total loan cost on the two options, assuming that the closing costs are the same for both cases and therefore do not affect the choice. So you need to compare the two options you have. Okay, so let's see how we can do it. So 30-year loan, you almost repeat the same process with the previous example. Just copy everything you have in that formula. Okay. So the P is 100,000. The APR is 5%. N is 12 since we are making monthly payment. One minus 1 plus 5% divided by 12. Negative 12 times 30. Okay. So this is our first option. Option 2, you still use the same formula, but everything has been a little bit changed. Interest rate is changed, and the time of years has also changed. Still, you own 100,000. Interest rate is 4.5%. And you are 1 minusing 1 plus 4.5%. Negative, still you made monthly payments, negative 12. But in this time it's 15 years. Okay. Okay, again, I need my teaching assistant, Mr. Queen, to help me plug this into the calculator and type the answer in the chat session. Okay, so Queen, please help me on this. Thank you. So does anyone has any question? How we get those formulas? Well, literally just practicing using this formula again and again. Okay. So for other students, oh, great. Thank you, Queen. You are so good. So Queen has been giving us answers in the chat sessions. I mean, we have somebody helping us, that's great. But when you go home, I mean, assume you are already at home, you should try to plug this into your calculator to make sure you can do it on your calculator, okay? Since this formula is a little bit complex, it has many small components, it's so easy to make mistakes. So let's just use the numbers given by Mr. Queen. And now, the first option, you are paying $500, 36.82 cents each month. So let's also wait for the second option. So for other students, please have a look at this adjustable rate mortgage. Okay, please look at this. I'll give you 2 minutes to look at this. So for other students, please look at the adjustable rate mortgage. I'll give you 2 minutes to look at this one. And you will see there's a comparison there. Okay. So after plugging into the calculator, we should get numbers like this for the practice 4. Okay, practice 4 is very routine. We're just using the same formula again and again. So let's look at the practice 6 together. The very easy concept, fixed rate mortgage, is just what we calculated. So the mortgage rate has been fixed already. However, sometimes you can choose to use the adjustable rate mortgage. So you are always using the prevailing rate, which means interest rate is changing over time and your APR is also changing over time. So what is the benefits of using adjustable rate mortgage? Because the bank can increase the interest rate sometime later. Okay. Let's look into this example. You have the choice between 30-year fixed rate loan and the adjustable rate mortgage, 3%. We are not considering the compounding or the changes in principal. So we should estimate your monthly savings when compared with adjustable rate mortgage during the first year or on the $100,000. Okay, so we're not considering the compounding, so we are only calculating a simple interest. So everything becomes easy. So at the beginning, you are only charged 4%. Okay. So 4%, this is your interest rate times your principal. This is how much interest you pay for each year, since we're not considering compounding. And you're paying over 30 years. So eventually, how much interest you would pay? So 4% times 30 which give you like 1.2. So eventually you are paying for 120,000 interest. Again, I want to emphasize that we are not considering changes in principal and we're not considering compounding, okay? So just assume everything still the same from the beginning to the ending. So what if we use the adjustable rate mortgage? So for the first year, you are paying 3%. But you are only paying for the 2 years. The interest rate is increased to 5% by this third year. So the first 2 years, you are paying so much interest. And this is just for the first 2 years. Okay, I apologize. I'm running a little bit out of time, but I guarantee you I'll finish this question within 2 minutes. So 2% times 3% times 2 is just 6%. 6% of 100,000 is $6,000. So the next 28 years, you are charged with 5% interest rate. Assume the principal is still there. And at this time, you are paying over the course of 28 years. So 5 times 28 is 140. So this is 1.4. So you got a 140,000. Did I do this calculation correctly? 1.4. Yeah. So the total interest is 146. Okay, so this is for fixed interest. This is for a adjustable. Okay, so now you see the difference. So at the beginning of the adjustable, you were paying less. However, once the back interest increased the interest rate, you are paying much more. So eventually you will see the difference between a 120,000 and a 146,000. Okay, so does anyone has any question about this one? Okay, so let me take the attendance. Do not go yet. Okay, I'm done with attendance. So stay here if you have any questions, otherwise feel free to go.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye, Black.